Okay, so recently there's been some fuss across different gaming outlets about speculation on Naughty Dog's next game that they're working on. Most of these articles that I've seen are, seem to be speculating about things that seem to be related to Factions 2, with the different promotions. But that's a video for another day. Today I'm going to talk about things related around Naughty Dog's next single-player game. Timestamps provided, chapters, whatever you call them. Feel free to let me know your thoughts. With that being said, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like, comment your thoughts, do whatever you want to do, and let me know.
Let's just jump into it.
So in case you didn't already know, yes, Factions 2 is a thing. It's confirmed that Naughty Dog's working on it. But Naughty Dog are also working on a single player game, in case you didn't know. And Factions 2 is a multiplayer, so it seems they're working on You might say, Dick, how the fuck do you know? Naughty Dog got a bunch of NDAs. PlayStation wouldn't allow them to have the blammo. So how the hell, Dick, would you blammo who? Well, Naughty Dog, PlayStation, all of them, they're not really that slick. Of course, when Neil is asked things like Factions 2, whatever, it go like this.
And yeah, everybody, a lot of questions, not even questions, just people pointing out in their letters, please remind Neil to make Factions. I don't know if you remember, you said you'd make a Factions multiplayer. People would really like that.
We used to make multiplayer games.
I bet somebody there is working on it right now. I know you're all working from home. Somebody has to be working on it right now, right? Right?
Neil. But Naughty Dog themselves put up a job listing for single player. So, this is what it says. Level environment designer single player. Level/environment designs are the creative force behind our narrative-driven content, crafting engaging gameplay experiences through sequences of level setups they design and produce. Responsibilities: plan and model, simplify geometry, environmental layouts, place game objects in script level progression, perform extensive level playtesting, reviews, and iteration. Collaborate with artists, programmers, animators, and other game designers to craft the vision of your levels and the game. Act as a producer for the levels you design as well as other parts of the game, facilitating communication across disciplines, clearing dependencies, and ensuring deadlines are met. Design and champion gameplay systems, conventions, and scenarios. Additional responsibilities may be assigned as needed. Requirements and skill. Okay, I'm not gonna get into the whole requirements and skill. You got the link down below. But basically, if you look at Naughty Dog jobs on Twitter, if you follow these posts or whatever, you kind of understand where things might be going, So even though they're hush-hush, like, yeah, you see what you see. It's kind of ironic, almost funny, So it's obvious from the get-go that they're gonna do games after Factions 2. So yeah, this game is ways off probably. Probably they're just gearing up for early development. We don't know. Yeah, but we do know that they're looking for single-player people. Now, let's get into two rumors that might tie into this job listing. These are rumors, only that. So, do take them with a grain of salt. Stuff like that. And I've known about these for a long time. I just haven't been motivated to cover them. And also, after playing TLOU3, I was less motivated since that emotionally messed me up. Yeah, you can even see my upload schedule. It's taking a huge toll. But anyway, rumor number one. Naughty Dog are rumored to be working on a new single-player game. It's gonna be an action-adventure game with steampunk elements with the code name Strays Cross. So I'm gonna read directly off the article which I've given. This is just a synopsis. Strays Cross will be an action-adventure game in first person with steampunk elements, and it will have two protagonists: a former female scientist, talented scholar fascinated by space-time science. She discovers confidential documents that will lead her to discover a hidden truth much bigger than she could imagine. And a wanted criminal man, a former construction worker, unjustly arrested for protecting a wanted friend during a shooting against the police. The plot is about a secret conflict that has lasted entire ages and how this will lead to the inevitable ruin of human society. And the story begins with the casual meeting of the two protagonists in completely different circumstances who will soon find themselves having to work together to get what they're looking for. Okay, so there's one interesting thing about this rumor to me, kind of, that it's specific. It's that it's specific. is that the rumor specifically says there's gonna be a new IP. Neil Druckmann did an interview, I think it was like a little bit before part 2's release, where he said he was unsure if you're gonna do part 3 or a new IP. I do think that they're gonna do both. I think that they're first gonna do a new IP and then The Last of Us 3. I'll get into why and stuff like that. But that's kind of interesting, but it's at the same time still, somebody could still pull this out of their ass. This rumor apparently originates from 4chan. After I completed The Last of Us 2, I went to research what was the fuss about the leaks or whatever, what happened before release, where were the leaks. So, there was legitimately gameplay leaks or whatever, but also, there were rumors on 4chan. People said Abby was trans. People said that the Seraphites were going to be the main antagonists of the game. The Abby and Seraphite rumors, bullshit. And obviously, after The Last of Us is over, you know, the whole franchise, the whole game or whatever, the Last of Us game, Naughty Dog would most likely do more games, and they don't seem to be working on Uncharted. That seems to be been done or whatever. They're not gonna be like, oh, it's done, we're not doing games no more, bye-bye. Of course they're gonna do, you know, probably most likely they're gonna do new IPs or whatever. I don't think they're gonna revisit Jack and Dexter anytime soon, or Uncharted anytime soon. If they do it, him and him, you get my point. Their company, business, at the end of the day. So yeah, it wouldn't be far-fetched to consider that they're gonna do a new IP and eventually Last of Us 3. I think that this new IP, whatever it might be, if it is a steampunk game or whatever, probably gonna come out before The Last of Us 3. And if Last of Us 3 happens, it'll be at the end of the PS5 life cycle. Yeah, you know, kind of how we got Uncharted on the PS4 and then years later, Last of Us 2. Now on to the second rumor. This is a rumored casting call, apparently from somebody that had some Hollywood scoops back in the day, whatever. Again, always take these things with a grain of salt. They're called rumors. So, the casting call is of an African-American male in his later ages, right? So as I'm editing this video, I noticed that I forgot to mention something. Now you might say, the casting call that you just mentioned, Dick, that is Isaac. That's Isaac from The Last of Us 2. Well, Isaac was not cast through a casting call. Yes, I got all sources linked down below, but basically just hear it from Shannon Woodward, Dina herself, on how Isaac Jeffrey Wright was cast.
Well, Jeffrey Wright is in The Last of Us 2. But that kind of happened because I was working on the game already when we were shooting the second season, and his teenage son is a really big fan, and I always played PlayStation in my trailer, like sitting around, because I can't like read or do puzzles or anything in between. It puts me in a different brain space, but playing video games is like putting my brain on pause for some reason. Yep. So I was playing all the time, and so I'd start being like, you know, you can play my PlayStation when I'm shooting with your dad, like, if you want to borrow it. And he's like, yeah, really? And I was like, yeah, I've got The Last of Us on there if you want to play. And then he was like, oh, you know, I'm a really big fan. And so I kind of took him into Naughty Dog one day and showed him around. And then, you know, after a little while, I think Jeffrey and Neil talked, and Jeffrey was like, I mean, I got to be in this game because my kid just thinks it's cool, you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I have really nothing to do with it. I really think I should credit Elijah, Jeffrey's son.
Indeed.
So I see a consistency here with the other rumor with the steampunk game saying 2 protagonists. We know also that Neil does have a thing for multiple playable characters, multiple protagonists. You have Last of Us 1, Uncharted 4, and Last of Us 2. So maybe he'll continue that year, that formula or whatever. But yeah, you see here, former construction workers. So the dude in the other rumor that I just mentioned could be old, and that could fit into this rumor here. And also, I want the rumor about the casting to be true. Let's get real for a second, right? In PlayStation games, solo dolo games or whatever, like from what I've seen recently, do remind me, correct me if I'm wrong, in main games, I'm talking main games, other than Jin Sakai in Ghost of Tsushima, we haven't really seen people of color as protagonists. Miles Morales, that's bigger than the DLC, still not a main game. Uncharted Lost Legacy, bigger than the DLC, whatever, standalone, whatever you call it, still not a main game. Naughty Dog been wonderful with representation and addressing certain things, you know, in their games, implementing them into the story in a way, having that be a part of the story. It does reflect real life in my opinion. Ellie, there are people in the world like Ellie. Lev, there are people in the world like Lev. And also you see here in the other rumor about the steampunk game, the dude is unjustly, you know, arrested by the police or whatever. That's what it says, right? you could have in this steampunk game, you could have a part of the story being addressing police injustice. Call me social justice warrior, blah 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 blah. They said it about Last of Us Left Behind, said it about Last of Us 2. Representation do matter. My opinion, we need more people of color in main games. Shout out Lee Everett, shout out Brig, my fellow North African from the motherland, from my ancestors. Shout out to my ass. Man, when I retired, I need to go to the motherland, just sit back, relax, play some games, stuff like that. So yeah, anyways, I'm gonna ramble on my thoughts now. You got the rumors, you got the what we know is happening, the job listing, the single player job listing. So yeah, the first person aspect of this game, I kind of wanted third person to at least be optional if it's a first person game. But it could be, who knows? It sounds a little bit like, would Naughty Dog do it? But it could be that they want to experiment, they want to do something new. If you didn't know, Last of Us 2 was almost like an open world. It had some things cut out to it. It was supposed to be way more open world, but then they cut it out. You know, the pacing, the tension situation, I've covered that before. Also, the multiple protagonist things, that doesn't sound too far-fetched. That's something that has happened a lot of times. That's the formula I don't know, I'm just gonna call it the Neil formula since all the games that he's been working on, coincidentally, we've had multiple playable protagonists. Last of Us, Uncharted 4, Last of Us Part 2. And also, we've had a formula in those 3 games, Last of Us 1, Uncharted 4, Part 2, that I don't want to see repeated in this new rumored IP or whatever. Well, we do know that they're working on a single player game. Could be Last of Us, but yeah. If they're doing a new IP, whatever Naughty Dog's next single player game is, I do not want to see, I'm gonna call it the Nier formula again, a repeat formula thing where you have, okay, so how do I say this? Okay, I can mention this. If you haven't played Uncharted 4, minor spoilers, no direct spoilers. So, Last of Us 1, Sarah's death. It happened early on in the game. It was the intro, so to say. Uncharted 4, we had a similar intro. That's all I'm saying. Uncharted 4, we had a similar intro. I'm not saying if somebody died or not, just a similar intro or that emotional attention grabber, and then the intro cue play. Last of Us 2, it wasn't technically the intro, but the golf scene was, so to say, what, you know, started off the game, you could kind of say, and it happened early on in the game. So I'm gonna count it as kind of an intro, and it's a similar formula where you have all these free, you know, these free games have this boom emotional attention grabber. Obviously, you need something bam to get the game going, right? But I wish they can do it in a different way where it's more, it doesn't feel like a rehashed formula. Because if they do this a 4th time, in my opinion, it will feel like a rehashed formula. Other than that, that's about it for my thoughts. Please do feel free to let me know yours. I read and reply to almost all comments. Do you want these rumors to be true, or do you want no new IP for now? I want The Last of Us 3 ASAP. I hope that the new single player game they're working on is The Last of Us 3. I don't. I hope that The Last of Us 3 happens at the end of the PS5 life cycle. Imagine how it'll look. It'll be like, you know, they figured out PS5 better and they learn how to work with better. Oof, we're gonna get magic. This is also gonna be magical too, probably. Whatever, if the rumors are true. But yeah, with that being said, thank you for watching my video. Feel free to like, comment, share, sub with the bell if you do and enjoy it, of course. I'll see you when I see you.